Of course. She's coming back from Vegas. She might make the show tonight because we're at the Beale St Theater.
Come on, Snow.
Because the theater's open and we're actually getting comedians.
Yes!
Alonzo Bodden.
Yay!
Yes.
Welcome.
So is this unusual to have comedians here? She looked shocked.
I think you're the second.
Really?
Yeah.
Because the agency that booked me said they booked this theater.
They booked 2 shows. There's one last night, one.
Oh, that's
tonight.
it.
And there might be more in the future.
They didn't tell me that.
Yeah, well.
All right.
Okay. Well.
They left that out.
Yeah, they left that out.
Winner of Last Comic Standard Season 3.
20 years ago.
20 years ago. But you beat some of my favorites. Gary Goldman.
Yes.
My friend Rich Voss.
Yes.
And Ralphie May.
Yes. So, everyone in comedy knows Voss. There isn't a comic in America. Like, you're not even a comic until you meet Rich Voss. I've known him. I met Voss early on, 94 maybe, something like that. And me and Ralphie were friends. You know, I met Ralphie when he came to LA. I started in LA. I lived in LA. So I don't know what your rules are on this podcast. So to me, his name was Ralphie fucking May. Like that, I always had to put that in the middle. He was Ralphie fucking May. And I loved him. He was a good dude. Sad he died so young with young kids. But, you know, that was it. And Gary Goldman, it's a contest between him and Greg Proops to be the smartest person I've ever met. He's brilliant, and I love him. He's a great guy. He's gone through a lot, and he talks about it. But we hit it off, pretty much from the start. I think we started with our Boston, New York sports rivalries and went from there. But I really have a love for Gary, talking to him and being his friend, And I used to throw him under the bus every week on Last Comic. They had this segment where you have to say, I know I'm funnier than, and you pick someone. I always pick Gary because I just knew I wouldn't have to go up against him. Nobody's going to challenge him. So.
Gary's from the same city I came from, PB Mass.
Oh, yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
So that Boston, New York thing, Yankees fan,
Mets first, Yankees second. Yeah, Mets first. And we will always be grateful to the Red Sox for the 86 World Series. Thank you, Mr. Buckner. No, it was a great one. Great.
Yeah. Well, me personally, it was for us. But, and we finally got it.
Yes.
Later, so. All right, so you have specials on Amazon. I was watching Historically Incorrect earlier today.
Yeah, that was the second to last one I did. And after that, I did Stupid Don't Get Tired, which went straight to YouTube. Because they all end up on YouTube now. Like, no matter where you go, 2 days after you've done, it's on YouTube. Just because, people pirate it and put it up there. But, Historically Incorrect was fun.
Yeah, I like that one. And you had it was almost like a prophecy on that one when you were talking about Obama and all special forces got together in the desert. And, like Ted Cruz was saying, well, they're coming for me.
Yeah, honestly, I got to think about that because when I do something, as soon as I'm done with it, I'm done with it. Like, I would have to see that special again, seriously, to see what I talked about. But I know that was right at the time of Obama's re-election. That's when that special was, right around then. And, anything I said about Ted Cruz is still true. It's not like he's turned and become a good person. He's been an asshole for a long time. He's one of them that's comical because, his name is Rafael Cruz and he's Cuban from Canada. And the level of hypocrisy and the level of stupidity of their followers, right? It's amazing that you can pull that off. A guy named Rafael Cruz, who's an immigrant from Canada, stands up for anti-immigration. It's like, I should be at your house, but they wouldn't find him because he'd be in Mexico.
Being in Kingman, and I know driving in, you probably saw a welcoming sign as you drive in. The first thing you see when you pass the park,
Yeah, you
That's
got Route 66, and then you have the biker place with the Confederate flag. It's America. I mean, you believe me, that ain't the biggest Confederate flag I've ever seen. It's sad, it's funny, it's ignorant, and it's angry. But you come into Kingman, you see the Confederate flag, you see the signs for the gun show, then you see a bar selling mead, which means we're in, like, I don't know, 15th century. We're drinking mead. Now, Thor drank mead famously. That was Thor's favorite drink. So it's, unfortunately, this is America. This is, there's two countries. It's been this way for a while, the coasts and the middle, right? So New York, LA, California, completely different. And the funny thing is, as someone who's traveled the country all my life in all these places, a New Yorker is as out of place here as a Kingman native is in New York. Like if you drop someone from here in Times Square, and even there, like if they waved the Confederate flag, New Yorkers would just walk by like, what the fuck's wrong with this guy? Like you would, you know what I mean? Like they want to stir up some shit. But New Yorkers would be like, just stupid ass out here. We got shit to yeah, we got shit to it's 1875. Good for you. Fuck off, It's really it's difficult to explain. I travel every year. I do something international, more so up prior to the pandemic, but I go to Canada and stuff, and it's really hard to explain to people from other countries the United States. It's a friend of mine sadly calls it an experiment that's failing, because we're the only country that is made up of immigrants. Like when you go to other countries, and I don't know how much you guys have traveled, but I do jokes about it. When you go to Ireland, everyone's Irish. If you're not Irish, it stands out. If you go to Japan, everyone's Japanese. It's only in the United States that even in this room we got, 4 different backgrounds. I mean, that's so different than other places because that's how this country was formed. So it's right now the experiment's failing. Now I think when Trump dies, MAGA ends because to me it's a cult of personality. He's the personality. Once he's gone, there's not going to be anyone strong enough to carry that stupidity, and then it's going to crumble. They're going to fight for this is what I think is going to happen. They're going to fight for the leadership, and then it'll crumble. But who knows?
Well, you don't think they're...
Yeah, this is a comedy podcast. That wasn't funny. That was hilarious.
Laughing the whole time.
You really don't think that they're going to put into place just something that they'll just install J.D. Vance?
No, they can't, because you already see nobody follows J.D. Vance. See, it's who they follow. Now, the Democrats have the same problem. Barack Obama was the last leader. There's no leader. Who leads the Democratic Party? I got, 2, 4, 6 people in this room. Who leads?
Chuck Schumer.
but all kidding aside, this is what I mean. Nobody knows. When Barack Obama was the leader. Our politics and everything in our country now is based on celebrity, right? And Barack Obama was a superstar. In his book, I think it was in his first book, I don't remember which one, but he said when he went to the Senate, and he said, I'm glad to be here as a senator, Harry Reid said to him, you're a president. Knew it right from first year Senate. They said, you're a president. They knew it because he has that. Unfortunately, Trump has that amongst angry white people. He's not intelligent. He's not charismatic. He's not anything else, but he speaks directly to angry white people. And you had the backlash of angry white people post-Obama, and then you have the angry white people who've just been angry the whole time, so.
Do you have to change up your material being in a town like this?
No. For one thing, it's actually easier for me than for white comics, because when they see my face on the picture, the billboard, whatever, they know I'm not right-wing. They know I'm not a Trumper. So they generally don't come to the show. Once in a while you get some that, want to come in and argue. At this point, I almost don't even engage. I don't even want to be bothered because all of their arguments are based on these ridiculous falsehoods. But see, when your argument's based on bullshit, then a person can't argue with you because you're just making up what you're arguing with, you know. And going back to my first special, and it's the media. That's who I blame. The media is the ones who allow this. They alternative facts. In the 70s, when you had Watergate, if Nixon would have come out and said, "Well, I have alternative facts," they'd be, "What the fuck are you talking? There's no alternative facts." Like, how does somebody say that? And there's always a press pool, and nobody pushed back. Nobody said alternative. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Alternative. Now they even use alternative math. Math is math, and even that they're like, no, we're gonna make up some numbers. You're like, it's fucking math. It's fucking math. You know, you've already dismissed doctors. You've dismissed science. Now math, right? Tariffs are going to raise prices. No, they're not. What the fuck you mean, no, they're not? You added tax. You added money to money. That means more money, you know? And they're like, no, not real.
And now you have to give it back to the farmers to bail them out.
Yeah, so, which is that. Good luck, farmers.
Well, get what you vote for.
Yep.
So you live in L.A. now, right?
No, I live in Vegas now. I moved
Vegas?
to Vegas last April. Yeah. I lived in LA for 44 years. I love LA. LA was my career. You know, I mean, I moved there 2 weeks after I turned 18, so I was there my whole life. You know, yeah. So
I lived here my whole life.
All right.
42 years.
And
and this is me.
Well, I'll tell you the difference. I promise you've seen all of Kingman.
Yes.
In 44 years, I still didn't see all of LA. You know, which is great. I mean, I'm a big city guy. I grew up in New York. I grew up in Queens, and I moved to LA. And I bounced around the country in the 80s, and I realized I need at least 1 million people around me to feel comfortable. I need a big city, you know.
I feel like I'm opposite.
Yeah, which is true. A lot of people in smaller cities or small towns.
But I like doing city things. Like, I was just in Vegas last night. I go there a lot. It's right there.
Yeah.
So, but I like coming home. I want like more peace. But over there, I want more vibe over there. But yeah.
There's anonymity in cities that I love. There's an anonymity in big cities. And I love that. You can just move around. Nobody knows you. Nobody gives a shit, you know.
But then I've never lived in one, so I can't really say how I feel about it. I wouldn't know.
How do you feel about what has happened to Los Angeles? Because first you had the fires this year, and then you had the occupation. Yeah,
well, okay, ICE is going to be its own topic. The fires are unfortunate, but have always been there. Going back to before LA was there, the native people called it the Valley of Smoke because there would be fires. It's dry, it's hot. Periodically, people who know nature will tell you that forest fires kind of rebuild the forest. You know what I mean? Periodically, shit burns, and that fuels the soil for the next generation and so on. So with LA or any city, California has this problem in a lot of places. And you see it in the Southeast on the coast with the flooding. You're building into places that weren't meant for you to build into. You know, like nature will always win. You know, and one of my first early jokes early in my career, I talked about, you know, man wants to challenge nature. Nature's like, really? Ooh, look at my beach house. Whoosh. I don't see it. You know, nature's nature. You can't defeat nature. The response to the fires from the federal government, but it's because of Trump, horrific. From the local government and the local people, they did their best. I talked to, I have Clipper tickets. I'm a Clipper fan, which is a whole nother story. But anyway, the guys who sit in front of me happen to be firemen. And this is what I talk about truth and intelligence, right? So they're all talking about, oh, Karen Bass, you know, should have had I don't know what she was supposed to do, bring water in from some miracle place, or if we had fire hydrants or this or that. These guys were like, listen, one guy's, I was fireman for over 30 years. He said, there's never been anything like this. 100-mile-an-hour winds literally blowing fire on people. He said, if you'd have had a fire hydrant, it'd have burned the shit. Like, you can't fight that. 100-mile-an-hour wind pushing fire. And Trump, I opened the valve in Canada and let the water down. What the fuck are you talking about? No, this was a tragic thing. The worst part of it is the people of Altadena, course, they talk about the Pacific Palisades because that's where all the rich people live. They're going to be fine. They're rich. They're going to rebuild. They're going to get super cheap FEMA loans. They're going to get money, blah, blah, blah. People in Altadena was a uniquely historic black neighborhood. And people there had money in their home, but it was a generational home because they were allowed to live there in times of segregation. Jackie Robinson's from that area. A lot of people. So the family had a home because of what happened with real estate and everything. The home is in the hills above Pasadena, beautiful home, worth millions of dollars. But once it burns down, they don't have millions of dollars to build another one. And the insurance companies fuck people. They don't pay them the value of what they had. So what's going to happen, sadly, for people who don't have the money is they're going to have to sell to a developer and just, it's gone. The family home is gone. The beautiful views and everything that goes with living in Altadena is lost. So that's tragic. I hate that that happened. ICE is a bunch of cowards. It's a racist organization, racist arm of the government out to get brown people. They're not looking for gang members. Again, I talk about it in my act. Every city, people know where the gang members are. If you're in LA and you're looking for Mexican gangbangers, anyone can point you right to where they are. If you're in MacArthur Park, I'm looking for gangbangers. Really? Head south, hang a left, they'll find you. You'll walk into, they're rounding up brown people. It's unbelievable. The shit that's going on today would be unbelievable in America 20 years ago, let alone 30 years ago. So now you had ICE go after all the Latino people. Now they're using the National Guard to go after black people. See, because now it's urban and inner city. And these codes, I don't know who they're fooling, The problem they're going to run into is you're fucking with the wrong people. You want to fuck with Chicago? I said, if they're all killing each other, what the fuck you think they're going to do to you? ICE went after, it was so funny. ICE went after some Haitians in Brooklyn. Let me tell you something. You don't fuck with Haitians. Ask anybody in the East Coast. They'll tell you, you don't fuck with Haitians. That community, they are tight and they went after a few Haitians. They met all the Haitians. Literally, all the Haitians came out. ICE called the cops, and the cops are like, yeah, we don't fuck with the Haitians. Sorry, good luck. Yeah, we don't fuck with them Haitians. Them Haitians take it. And the ICE ran away scared. They're a bunch of cowards. You see them stand out. It's interesting, the group that has to fight ICE, white women. Because up until a couple of days ago, that was the one group they won't put their hands on. So white women can stand up to them and yell at them and get the fuck out of here, you blah, blah, blah. Anyone else do it, and anyone of color do it, they're just going to slam you to the ground, beat you, and arrest you. But when a white woman faces off against ICE, especially if it's public, if it's on social media or whatever, they can't do a thing because that's the one group they can't touch.
Karen.
It really is. This is something that Karen needs to fight. But it's a horrific thing. I mean, we joke about it because we have to talk about it, but it's really unbelievable. What are the Germans saying? The Germans are like, are you fucking kidding? You can't have a Confederate flag, the equivalent to that in Germany. It's illegal. You can't walk around with an SS t-shirt in Germany. It's, besides the fact everyone's going to hate you, it's literally illegal. They're like, no, we recognize a hate group. It's so funny when they call Charlie Kirk a civil rights leader. It's like, what civil rights was he protecting? What, nobody can answer that for me. What civil right? Like Martin Luther King, civil rights. Yeah, the right to vote, the right to get equal pay, the right to, eliminate segregation, eat at the food counter or whatever. Like actual what civil right? What Charlie Kirk was a rich young white man. What was he not allowed to do in America? What was he not? Anybody? Can anybody tell me what he wasn't allowed to do?
He got in trouble for voicing his opinion.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't, because he was never silenced, nor was he arrested.
No.
How many times did Martin Luther King get arrested?
I know, like cancel culture. Cancel culture, you're not really canceled.
It's bullshit. Stop it. Yeah. Don't talk to me about cancel culture. Cancel culture is bullshit. Who's been canceled? Give me a comic that's been canceled.
The only one I can ever think of is one that cries out about it a lot. Bill Maher technically, but he came back with a bigger show.
How much money does Bill Maher make? I wish I could get canceled and have a show on HBO every Friday night. The fuck out of here. No, but it's bullshit. You know the only comic who got canceled? The only comic who got canceled is Michael Richards for saying nigger at the Laugh Factory. That's the only guy. And see, he wasn't a comic. He's a comic actor playing a comic. He stepped into our world where he wasn't qualified. He brought it on himself. But he's gone. Louis C.K., Dave Chappelle. I wish I could get canceled like Dave Chappelle. Every year, canceled another $10 million Netflix special. Kathy Griffin. Jimmy Kimmel, just last week. Bullshit. None of them canceled. Charlie Kirk, how is Charlie Kirk canceled? Charlie Kirk claims Arizona State didn't let him make a speech. That's his cry. I don't think that's true. But even so, how many colleges did he go to, and how many millions and millions of dollars did he make with these bullshit debates where he would only challenge college kids? He wouldn't challenge professors. He wouldn't challenge anyone on his level. See? So when was he canceled? He said Ketanji Brown Jackson was not qualified to be on the Supreme Court. Her qualifications are impeccable. He wasn't canceled for saying that. So when was he canceled?
He wasn't. And he never really debated people either.
No, he bullied kids.
Yeah.
He bullied kids. But this is what I'm saying. It's all bullshit, see? And this is why I blame the media, because the media used to be the fourth estate, and they used to be the ones who could fight all of this. But now the media is owned by the same billionaires that support Trump and all this right-wing shit. And the media is a for-profit industry. And again, I don't know how old you guys are or how long you've followed this. The media used to be not-for-profit. The news used to be something the networks had to do. They didn't want to do. And when it was not-for-profit, and the fairness doctrine, Reagan ruined that. But when it was actually fair, where you had to be half Democrat, half Republican, they'd go after people. None of this would have happened. It wouldn't have been allowed. They would have destroyed Charlie Kirk as a racist. You know, he's a racist. That's what he was. But they called out everybody. I joke about it that it used to be when I remember when 60 Minutes came to your door, they had a camera in the back alley because they catch you running out the back because you were like, oh, fuck, 60, I'm caught.
60 Minutes is here.
Yeah, it used seriously, like you're younger. I don't know if you ever saw that, but that's how it used to be.
Barely.
And that's gone now, you know, and I did the joke back in my first special that if Walter Cronkite was around, this is when Sarah Palin was considered crazy. You talk about the good old days. Remember when she was crazy?
Mm-hmm.
She'd be left wing now. But anyway, Walter Cronkite, she'd have spoken. Walter Cronkite would have been like, bitch, shut up, and walked away. He wouldn't have talked to her. They would not have taken her seriously. It's ridiculous.
Back to the Kimmel for a minute, though. What was the great pushback on that was after it happened, something like 750,000 people canceled their Disney Plus subscriptions.
Right. Money.
Yeah.
Any of this shit, you could follow the money. And follow the money. So Sinclair Broadcasting, who owns a ton of ABC affiliates, right? And they push back against Disney, and FCC threatens Disney, and Disney pulls Kimmel, right? Because they're worried about Sinclair Broadcasting, like, hey, you broadcast our shows, and we got commercials and blah blah blah. It's how we make money. And then how many, whatever you said, 750,000 people or whatever canceled subscriptions, and that was just right away. That wasn't how many more were going to be canceled. And somebody at Disney said, wait a minute, 750,000, $16.99 a month, every month for the bring him back. That's all it was. Bring him back. And I support Kimmel, and I hate what happened. And the federal government shouldn't be able to bully a network into taking someone off air. But this had to be early 2000s. I was at a comedy festival. They used to have one in Aspen. And they had the guy there who had pulled Bill Hicks off of Letterman's show. This was a famous story back in the time in the 90s. Letterman loved Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks was a great comic. Bill Hicks had a joke about Jesus. They said, don't do it. He did it. They pulled the segment from Letterman. There was a big, blah, 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 all this and that. And the guy who made the decision was there. And he said, listen, we're in the business of selling commercials. That's what we do. He's got in the way of it. We didn't give a fuck about free speech. We ain't here for art. We sell commercials. That people forget this is a business. You think Disney gives a fuck about free speech? Disney gives, they don't want you to hear that speech for free. That's what that's their concern. And you didn't hear our speech for free. They went after a preschool in Burbank because they had Mickey Mouse painted on the window unlicensed. A Disney lawyer passed it and made them take it down. That was a famous story about how fucked up Disney can be. It's all money. Follow the money.
Yeah. Speaking of money, what are your thoughts on the Saudi Comedy Festival?
Okay. No, because I got to go in. Now, there's some things about this I can say and some things I can't. Okay. There was a guy, a producer from Just for Laughs, asked me if I would be interested in going. I said yes, and then it never came. He never got an offer. It never came through. I know some of the guys who went, some of the comics and this and that. I've been to Saudi. I did comedy in Saudi for much less money. Years ago, they had some deal with the Laugh Factory, and the Laugh Factory was my home club in L.A., and they sent comics over. It's the politics of Saudi Arabia are horrible, but so are the politics of the United States of America. We are no better than them. When I got there, and I've done comedy all over the world, a video of this is one of my favorite moments. The hotel was across from some body water. I don't know what it was. There were these old ladies there feeding the pigeons, right? 3 or 4 old ladies throwing food. There were some kids, probably their grandkids, I'm going to guess, running through the pigeons, making the pigeons fly. Tell me that's not anywhere in the world. Grandmothers playing with you. You want me to hate these people because their government did something fucking horrible? Our government does horrible shit every day, yet I perform in the United States. Why the fuck would I not perform? We're talking about the people. I've met people from everywhere in the world. I've performed in Iraq, in Kuwait, in Japan, in Ireland. You know what? People are people. Governments are different. Governments hate. There are extremes. I've done shows in Israel. There are extremes in government. What Israel's doing in Gaza is terrible. I don't hate Israelis, but the Israeli government is fucked up. It's like enough is enough. What the fuck? Yeah, they bombed you, but you fucking made your point. Why do you have to kill all of them? This is genocide now, So I have no beef with comics doing comedy in Saudi Arabia. And I posted on Threads, which is great because it's such a closed circle of all left-wingers, but I said, comics are starting to judge comics the way civilians judge comics. I don't. We know better. There's comics I don't fuck with. There's comics who've gone right wing, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck. I knew this guy. This wasn't him. Now it is him. Did he change his mind? Or I think it's more he's in it for the money or whatever. But so I may choose not to fuck with this comic or that comic on an individual basis. But I'm not going to judge them for going to Saudi Arabia. And it is because I've been there, and we're talking about the people, not the government. Now, when you go there, do they tell you don't talk about religion? Do not talk about the Muslim religion. Do not talk about any Saudi royal family. They tell you that. Like, okay, what the fuck? Jimmy Kimmel got in trouble for talking about America's royal family, right? So fuck you. No, don't give me this bullshit that we're better. We're no fucking better. We haven't killed a journalist yet. What did Trump just say? Go into Portland with full force. What the fuck are you going to do? Attack Voodoo Donuts?
I will.
It's bullshit. No, I have no beef against those comics for doing that. Because maybe the people of Saudi Arabia hear some jokes, see some of the Western culture and say, wait a minute, this ain't that bad. Remember, people get exposed to things and they find out it's not what they've been told. I've encountered racists in America, right? I've done tons of military shows. The Army's black. Army's a giant black neighborhood. If you haven't been, it is. There was this white guy, nicknamed Red. He was a chef. I think we were in Kuwait. We were somewhere in the Middle East. He's from the hills of North Carolina. I mean, total redneck hillbilly, whatever you want to call it. And he talked to me. He said, man, I grew up, they taught me to hate black people. They taught me blah, blah, blah. He said, man, they were wrong. He said, I love these. These are the coolest people. These people taught me to cook. I'm a chef. They taught me to dance. He loved black people. This is how crazy racism is. There's a hillbilly rap song about lynching black people. You're actually taking our culture. Your rap is art. Hip hop. You're using our culture to say you want to hang us, and you don't see how stupid you look doing that. Racism's based in stupidity and hate. You can't fight it. But it's the same thing with the judgment. I'm not going to judge all the Saudi people based on the Saudi government. I'm not going to judge everyone in Israel based on the Israeli government. And I would hope you don't judge me as an American based on the American government. Canada's the only place you could judge. The government's nice. The people are nice, too. Canada seems to have pretty. I like Canada.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, you'll find Kingman, you again,
Right,
this is the
right.
sign. And that's the first impression you get, which I think gives us all a bad name because the community here, Josh here is Citizen of the Year.
Let me tell you a Kingman story. This had to be almost 30 years ago. Yeah, it had to be almost 30 years ago. I was driving through Kingman. I was in a Honda. It was a Civic. It was a four-door Civic. It was a fun little car, 6-speed transmission. It was fun. And my alternator burned up. And I was stuck. And I think it was the tow truck driver or it was somebody who was like, oh shit, that's one of them foreign cars. There's only one place that has parts for those, blah, blah, blah. He called the guy. The guy came out to his store. It was like a Napa Auto Parts or whatever, and found me an alternator and helped me put it on so I could go. That's my impression of Kingman, not the Confederate flag.
I know.
Seriously, that happened to me in Kingman. So if you tell me the people in Kingman are a bunch of rednecks and they hate you and blah, 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 I'll joke about it because of their Confederate flag. But I had a guy open his fucking store, like he was closed. He opened his store and found the alternator I need because at that time, there were no foreign auto parts stores. Again, it's 30 years ago. Now they probably have 2.
I know we've improved. We got a second one.
Like, the frustrating part for us being how we view life and stuff like that and people, it's people like that and a few others around here who give us all a bad name, who taint.
Yeah, but that's, and again, you could say that anywhere.
Yeah,
You could say that anywhere. You could go
It's always going to be good and bad.
Right. You could go to Compton and run into gangbangers and say, oh, man, all black people are horrible. Just like you can go to West Virginia and run into Tammy Pascatelli, who we did last comic with. One of my favorite jokes of all time. Tammy said, are you scared of LA? She said, I ain't scared of LA. I'm scared of West Virginia. She said, because gangbangers kill you, but hillbillies keep you. That joke, I love that joke, So you can do that anywhere, and people do. I'm one of the fortunate people that travel. Most Americans don't travel. Most Americans, and it's a vast majority, die within 50 miles of where they were born, Most Americans do not have a passport. They haven't seen, again, the Sarah Palin logic. America's the greatest country in the world. You ever been to another country? Don't have to. Well, then you haven't seen how great other countries can be. Now, we are in a lot of ways. And don't get me wrong, I love the United States of America. I love that I grew up here. I thank God I was born in New York. It's the greatest education you'll ever get because by 10 years old, you've seen everything. Try to be a racist in New York. You know how fucking tired you'd be? Just walking down one block. Goddamn Puerto Rican, Chinese, I don't even know what the fuck you are. Fuck you two. And then, oh, goddamn, I only half a block. There's 50 more. God damn it. What the fuck? What name do I call you? You know, you're fucking Sri Lankan. What the fuck is that? You know, that New York? A racist? Tired. People that you hate Jews? You mean the ones I went to school with? No, I'm kind of good with them. I've been around Jews all my life, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, my normal co-host, she just went up to New England and she finished her quest to go on all 50 states before she retires. And she will say that. She will go every state. She'll just go in the local places and, whatever bar and just say, wow, I had the best time. And this person here, we had this great conversation. And yeah, I think it's more amplified, especially on social media.
Yeah.
Around here, social media, it makes us seem not quite true to what this community actually is.
Well, people are tribal. That's I think a human instinct to be tribal. And the worst, like the loudest voices are always the worst because, what's that news thing? If it bleeds, it leads or whatever. They want to cover that. I would say, in my experience, the South is bad. And when I say that, it's because the South consciously tries to stay backwards. They try to stay with racism and homophobia and, misogyny. And they consider it part of their culture. When you go to the Midwest, you go to Kansas, they don't know anything about transgender people because they haven't seen them. They don't know anything about Latinos because they haven't seen them. So it's not that they're not conscious. Well, it's changed now, but I mean just over the years. When they initially didn't like Mexicans, it's because they didn't know any. They'd never seen them. They didn't meet them. In the South, the fuckers will be at a Mexican restaurant eating burritos, talking about go back to your country. It's like, well, what the fuck are you gonna eat? Your food is bland as fuck. So that's what I've seen, and it is unfortunate, but people, and this is also why, say Hesketh, or however you pronounce his name, wants to run all gay, transgender, anybody who's not white male out of the military. Because if you meet them, you can't hate them anymore. If you meet somebody and you're in their unit and you're doing all the training together and, God forbid you have to go to war, but you might see action, this or that, and that person has your back, and then you find out they're gay. Well, fuck, I can't hate you now. Fuck, you've saved my life. My life is in your hand, man. I would have hated you if they told me before I was supposed to hate you. And it's that funny because it's that stupid. It's why they don't want to integrate schools. I am very lucky that I was bused to schools. I joke before it was an issue, but it's true. I was bused to white schools before integration was an issue. So I've been around white people all my life. So I have no problem. I get along, this or that. They don't want busing because then how do you teach white kids to hate black kids if you put them together at 6 years old? You can't teach them to hate. You can't. If at 6 years old, it's fuck. We wanted you to hate this person. They speak Spanish. You're supposed to hate them, but fuck, now Juan is your friend. It's the integration ruins it for them. That's why they fight it so hard. You don't give women jobs because then you're going to see how much better at it they are than you. Are you fucking kidding? Women, organization? Women run a house. You think your fucking company's easy? They got kids. The fuck? And your company probably has them too, because it's fucking angry white men. But you know what I'm saying? This is it's all a fucking joke. It's all like there. You talk about being snowflakes and scared. It's like you talk about California. They talk about California, L.A., a bunch of L.A. snowflakes, weirdos. You were so scared you had to call the Marines. That's how scared ICE was. Think about that. That's how scared they were in L.A. You're alpha males, you tough guys. You were so fucking scared of the people of L.A. that you had to call the Marines to back you up. That's how fucking scared you were. And they're the pussies? I don't think so. I don't know any Californians in Texas calling the Marines saying, "Hey, can you save me?" No, Californians go to Texas. They're like, "Oh, fuck, we going to buy this shit. It's cheap." Texas like, "Fuck, they bought it," So,
What do you think about the press conference this week that they said Tylenol causes autism?
everything causes autism. Everything. Actually, talking to you, will be autistic when I leave. Everything causes autism now. Vaccines cause autism. Tylenol causes autism. Podcasts, water from California, looking at gay people. Let's see. I can't think. Yeah, everything causes autism now. Why not Tylenol?
Yeah.
Why the fuck not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Trump gives me autism.
All causes autism.
All right. What is your worst experience with a heckler when you've been on stage?
The worst I got heckled, it wasn't one heckler, it was a whole room. I started doing comedy in 93. In the 90s, Def Jam was huge. Def Jam was everything in comedy. I was going to New York to do a show called the Apollo Comedy Hour. I was a rookie. I'd only been doing comedy a year, but they saw me, they liked me. They put me on this show. Apollo Comedy Hour is on regular TV, syndicated TV. You have to work clean. I had never worked in New York, even though I grew up there. My career started in LA. I fly to New York. The New York comics couldn't have been more cool. They were like, "Man, we're going to take you around. You get to run." Comics do a thing called run the set. It's like rehearsal. You do the set in front of audiences at comedy clubs. You work out, little nuance, change a word here, do this. Then you go on TV and do it. So they're taking me around. We go to a place called Manhattan Proper, which was a bar club in Queens, 15 minutes from where I grew up. I'm back in my home neighborhood. It's a total black club. It's a total Def Jam vibe. I go on stage trying to do clean material for TV. They didn't just boo me off the stage. They booed me through the lobby, outside onto the street. I'm standing on Linden Boulevard. And like, "Don't come back in! Boo!" That's how much they hated me. My victory was I did the show at the Apollo and I killed.
Nice.
But yeah, it's tough. When you're a new comic, it's tough. But we love this so much. See, to be a comic, you got to love it. You got to absolutely love it. So you love comedy so much that can't break you. You're like, fuck it, man. I got to get on the horse. I got to figure it out, So.
I used to watch Steph Comedy Jam. I know I seen you on Lost Comedy.
Yeah.
I've known you for a long time.
I've been around.
But seen it.
Another time, and this was a funny one, Beaumont, Texas, doing a roadhouse. And I'm talking like chicken wire behind the stage kind of fucking roadhouse. One-nighters. There was a guy who used to book these one-nighters. You basically did a circle around Texas, right? Because early in your career, you don't work Dallas, you don't work Houston, you work fucking Beaumont and Lubbock and shit, So I'm in Beaumont and this guy's heckling and I'm destroying this guy, right? And then after the show, about time someone shut him up just because he run the Klan around here. Well, what? This guy was like a fucking Klan guy and I tore him up. So I was like, oh, fuck. Hope I make it out of here.
Right.
But I made it out. But yeah, so that sometimes you don't know who the local celebrities are.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Are you anticipating any heckling tonight?
I have no idea. I do not know what to expect tonight. Obviously, on the stereotype of this being Kingman, it'd be a right-wing, angry audience. But a lot of times when you're the blue dot in a red sea, the other blue dots are happy to see you and fill the place. That's been my experience with NPR. I do a lot of stuff with NPR. And whenever we take Wait, Don't Tell, like I have something to do with it. Whenever Wait, Don't Tell Me is in a red state, it sells out immediately because the people are so happy to hear that voice. So honestly, I have no idea what to expect tonight. And I'll be honest, in my act, I don't talk about Trump a lot. I did his first year back in 2017, and then it became boring. Because it's the same thing. It's the same joke. It's one joke. He's going to say something outlandish, stupid, or anger-provoking, right? Hateful. and then you're going to make fun of it because he's an idiot. And you can use that template for anything he says. So as a comic, you want to be creative, you want to grow. So you don't want to do that all the time. So my jokes are more about policy or about the hypocrisy and the ridiculousness than it is about him directly. You know what I mean? I don't hate Donald Trump for being Donald Trump. He's an idiot and I don't fuck with him, but he is who he is. It's the fact that he's allowed to grow and be considered a leader. And how does the United States look when he's at the UN telling people your country's a shit country and this and that? Like, it makes us look, it's an embarrassment, you know? And if you're not smart enough to know that's an embarrassment, then I'm not worried about hurting your feelings. You know what I mean? It's just, it is what it is. So yeah, I don't know what to expect. I don't change my act for a certain place. The only time I change my act is if you're paying me a lot of money to do a corporate gig, because then it's specific to the people of that corporation, you know?
Yeah. Well, okay, we got a few minutes before showtime. Does anybody have any questions?
Do you have any words of advice for a 55-year-old aspiring comic in this climate?
I tell every new comic the same thing: stage time. And it's hard to find here. I'll give you another piece of advice I was given early on in my career. Have a good car. You got to have a reliable car, because when you're new, you got to drive, because you probably ain't making the money to fly everywhere. And you got to get on stage as much as you can. I work with a lot of jazz musicians. I've been lucky enough to fall into that world. And I work with, honestly, not exaggerating, some of the greatest musicians on earth. And I tell them the big difference is you get to practice in studio. I can only practice in front of an audience.
Yeah.
So you got to get on stage.
We got open mics here. I just got to work up the courage.
You got to get up there. You have to do it. There's no shortcut. Memorize your material, know what you're going to say, and then go up there and say it.
Yep. Jump on in.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
That was awesome. I was like, my mom's always said I should be a comedian. So I'm like, that's why I was excited about this.
Yeah, you won't know until you get in front of people. The first time I did comedy, I used to work in aerospace, and I used to teach in aerospace, and I never had a problem getting up in front of people, and I'd be a funny instructor. And, you know, after thinking about, I decided I wanted to be a comic, and a friend gave me this comedy class, right? And you write the material, and your graduation is doing 5 minutes. And I walked off that stage with no doubt I was going to be a comic. I never had a second thought, and I still love it that much. So I'm lucky.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now it was late. I was 30 when I started. You know, guys like you were talking about, like Goldman and Boston, they've been doing it all their life. They started right out of college, or in some cases right out of high school. Chappelle started when he was 14. You know, he's in a different world than the rest of us. He's in a category of one, in my opinion. Yeah, it's something that if you love it, and it's the same way with the musicians I know. You know, none of them is it a job. It's who you are. It's that, yeah, but it's just who you are. It's just in you.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Prince didn't work at creating music. He was music. Mm-hmm. Everything he did was music, you know, and the same way with writers, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. So wrap up on this. The one thing that does unite all of us, we're all, all divided on everything, is food. What's the best food you've had? Traveled the world. The best food you've had.
My favorite type of food is Italian food. If you go to Italy, you learn what eating really is. It's an art form. But I can't say there's like one particular meal where it's like, that's the greatest meal I ever had. I mean, I've had, been to steak houses where the steak melts in your mouth, and that's incredible. And then I've been to barbecue joints where the ribs melt in your mouth, and that's incredible. So I don't know. I can't say there's one particular place or whatever, there's a number of them that are really good. But I'm not a foodie. I'm more simple than foodies. Foodies get into that art, I call it artwork, when it's this much tiny little bit of food on a plate and it's arranged for like, yeah, that looks beautiful. When are we going to eat? So, yeah, I'm not that. But New York has the best pizza in the world. Chicago has the best Chicago-style pizza. Let's see. I'll tell you something I had recently that was amazing. I had it on in the city of Victoria on Vancouver Island. I had fish and chips with salmon fish and chip, and it was amazing. Like, wow. I guess you can make fish and chips with any kind of fish, but no one else thinks of it. But they did it.
Right.
They did it with salmon, and it was fantastic. So yeah, I've eaten a lot of places and had a lot of good meals.
Any upcoming gigs you want to plug?
Let's see. Well, I'm going to be in Kingman, Arizona, September 27th at the Beale St Theater. Don't know what to expect there. Let's see. What do I have coming up after this? I'm going to LA. I'm taping. Byron Allen brought back Comics Unleashed. So I'm going to be taping some new episodes of that. And I should know this. My publicist gets mad at me for not knowing exactly where I'm going to be or what I'm going to be doing. Next month in November, I'm going to be, I'm going to be at the Punchline in Atlanta. And I'm going to be at the Arlington Draft House in Arlington, Virginia, just outside of D.C. I do that every year, Thanksgiving weekend. So I'll meet the National Guard that week. They'll be hanging out because they got to clean up.
Well, we appreciate you showing up early, taking the time with us.
This was cool. This was cool. Sorry I go on tirades, but when you ask when you ask a comic questions, we have opinions about shit.
That makes a good podcast.
We have opinions, so we are going to give you our opinions
That's what we're
and
expecting. We usually do these over Zoom. And
I've done tons of Zoom stuff, which was interesting because here in Arizona, the pandemic was fake. So I don't even know how you guys use Zoom. You in Florida said it didn't exist. And then we found out causes autism. There's that.
We started this podcast because of COVID. We got those Donnie dollars and I was just like, I had a partner picked out to do it. Just didn't have the time to do it. COVID was the perfect time. And we weren't going to do this political stuff. We were going to do more like an updated love line type of thing. Talk about relationships, maybe arrange it to have people call in. But the weekend that we started was the weekend George Floyd died.
Right.
And we had to talk about it.
Well, now when they it's ridiculous. Comics shouldn't talk about politics. Like, really? Because the court jester did it before anyone did it. So that's just stupid. But we live in a climate now, anything is politics. Like you said, relationships, right? Women will say on dating sites or whatever, first thing they want to know, who did you vote for? Because that tells them a lot about you. And if you voted for Trump, dating's kind of hard. That's a small pool, So, and then they're funny because I talk to women about this, and they catch the liars, who say, "Oh, I don't talk about politics." Hey, you voted for Trump. Well, I don't. Hey, you voted for Trump. They try to hide it, but women aren't stupid. Women are smart.
Saw that detail on your car.
Yeah, they see right through it, so anything, anything is political now. Anything. So. Why pretend you're not going to talk about it? Like if you're firm in your views and you have real facts, not alternative facts, real facts, I'll talk to you. But I don't. So your relationship podcast is now political. You're stirring up the pot.
There's a little bit of everything.
Here they come. I mean, I even ride Harleys, that's a whole nother thing. Like, I do comedy in the motorcycle world, and then they see my other comedy, like, hey, wait a minute. No.
All right, well, we appreciate this. Thank you for
All
taking
good.
the time, and
Thank you.
Thanks.
good luck tonight.
Nice.
We'll be out there to support you.
Yeah.
See why my phone's been vibrating.
There
Who's
you
looking
go.
for me?
Thank you.